Hearty Hooligan, which is Hamilton's all-vegan restaurant and bakery. I've been in business for about 6.5 years. Over that time, the Hearty Hooligan has become a community space, an event space. I like to think a very important spot on Ottawa Street in the East End, and just a groovy spot for people to kind of try out more sustainable food choices.
That's amazing. I was wondering if we could just start off with a really simple question of what does nature mean to you?
It's funny because I think in so many ways it's kind of a complicated question, and I think a lot of people lean towards thinking that nature is whatever isn't interfered with by people, but you can interfere with nature all the time and have it still be natural. Like a garden is interfered with by people. So I think whatever processes assist whatever the planet would do naturally on its own. So whatever kind of goes with the flow of the natural order of what Earth would do by itself.
That's a really neat view on nature and how it is a really broad topic, and that sometimes people do interfere with it, and it's just a natural component, the anthropogenic needs of it. You mentioned sustainability is a really important part of the Hearty Hooligan, and I noticed on your menu you mentioned sourcing locally, which is a phrase we do see on restaurant menus. What does sourcing locally actually mean, and why is it important?
So there's a human element and an environmental element. So I am a big believer in supporting your own community. So something as simple as local jobs. So I'll take our produce as an example. A lot of restaurants will get their produce from a company in Hamilton. We get ours from FWP, which is in Hamilton. We've been doing that since the very beginning. So that's supporting jobs in your own community, but also when you think about the fuel from just driving produce all over the place, it's something that adds up more than people realize, and especially the more people do it, more trucks are on the road. We get produce from around the corner. So again, not only is it giving back to your own community and creating jobs around you, it is just cutting down on just having more and more people flying up and down the highway.
That's a really important element to it for sure, and it also impacts on what actually is natively available here. I would say we're able to grow more native plants that are actually able to grow here rather than importing such. Would you say that was also an aspect of your decision?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, this is all demand, right? I mean, if there's more demand for local produce, ideally you want to have more space for things like community gardens, and you want to have people who see that, yes, in Hamilton, Ontario, there are businesses willing to buy the produce that we grow here. So let's just create more space to make that produce.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us today. It's really great to see local businesses caring about our local community and supporting farmers and also supporting the environment in general. I was wondering if there's any really cool nature stories you could share with us from Hamilton.
Ooh, from Hamilton. Well, okay, so one of my favorite nature stories is actually, and it's just something I love talking about, but it's from Detroit. So when I lived in Windsor, Detroit is right there, right? It's right next to you, and a lot of us know that Detroit has had a hard time, sort of monetarily and in many ways, but it's rebuilding itself in so many incredible ways, and one of the ways it's been rebuilding itself is with community gardens. So it's taking things like vacant lots, and the community is just deciding, nope, this is our community garden now. So communities are feeding themselves out of these vacant areas that are otherwise just completely unused. And it's one of those models that I want to see more and more. So whenever I do see like green space in Hamilton, it makes me very, very happy, because it's a community kind of taking control of, you know, their own food chain and their own local sourcing. One thing I see in Hamilton kind of on a microcosm are there some bars around here that do grow their own cocktail accoutrement, and it's just one of those little neat things. So Argyle, which is right next to us, they grow like their own mint, for example. So whenever you get a mojito, that's just grown right out front, and it's a really lovely gesture. It's fancy. You get to see the bartenders go out and clip it, but it's just a nice, like, this is sustainable, this is great. And whenever you are growing something, even if it's small, it's just great for the environment around you. Even if it's just good for pollinators, like all of that stuff matters. So any tiny thing that you can grow outside is, I mean, some people, for them, I think it might be a cost thing because that can be expensive, but even if it's just like bees love it, that matters. All of that matters and is important.
We certainly do love the bees, especially with the Hamilton Naturals Club. We actually have several pollinator gardens in Hamilton. If you've ever been on York Boulevard, we take care of quite a few of those. I was wondering if you had any last words to share with us.
I think just overall, it's important to support your own community for so many reasons. I know for some people cost can be a barrier, and that's something I am very sensitive to. Some people can't afford shopping locally, but it's the sort of thing where whenever you can, or if you have the means, do it, because it is one of the best things that you can give back to the people around you and the earth around you.
Fabulous. Thank you so much.